First off, we're going to thank the pride of Minnesota, the Gopher Band. Thank you all. Well, to each of you who came out here and you look around, this crowd looks an awful lot like a diverse, vibrant group of people from the farms of southern Minnesota, mines of northern Minnesota, factories of because our people are diverse. Our economy is strong because our people are strong. And our state is kind because our people are kind. 2.5 million people showed up last November and cast votes. They made a choice. They chose hope over fear. They chose inclusion over exclusion. They chose personal freedoms over totalitarian dictates from government. They chose science over conspiracy. Above all else, though, they chose action over gridlock. There are too many thank yous for the groups who are here, but I'm going to try my best because I think all of us understand. Those voters in this democracy chose people who they felt exercised wise judgment, compassion, reflected their own lived experiences, and chose hardworking people to come to the Capitol to not use talking points, to not try and demonize others, but to dig deep into the things that could improve people's lives. And democracy is hard. It's really hard. And we found out it's not all that hard to derail it. What is hard is to hold coalitions together with very broad. When I say one Minnesota, that doesn't mean we're all the same. It means we work across differences to create a place where all of us can thrive. And to do that means compromise. And I have to tell you, history will write the story. I keep hearing about this. What's this going to mean? Well, we'll find out. We're pretty sure it's going to mean a fairer, more inclusive, better, and more prosperous Minnesota. But to get those things done, took incredible leadership. And we have two of who I think will be remembered as two of Minnesota's great leaders in this. Speaker Melissa Hortman and Leader Kerry Dietzig. I know in our administration we have to get consensus out of a few of us here. That's a lot harder than getting consensus out of individuals who bring incredible passion, incredible experience, incredible wisdom, and craft that into something that you can get the number of votes for. Time and time and time again. Remember those at the beginning of the session who told us they'll never hold a majority of one together. They will never do the things to protect reproductive rights, to protect our trans children, to protect our environment, to make sure we have a more inclusive economy. They told us that wouldn't happen. Don't tell them that couldn't happen because they just showed you it can. And to these legislators, they came out of their jobs, teaching, nursing, small business owners, and they said, raised their hand and said, I'll go to St. Paul and I'll bring your voice. Whether that is from Grand Marais or whether that's in Mankato, they said, I'll go there and I'll make our passions heard and I will get it done. And they were asked at times to take votes that others said are really hard. And time again, they said it's not hard to vote your conscience for what's good for your people. It's not about banking political capital for the next election. It's about burning political capital to improve lives. That's what they did. No more productive. It will be proven no more effective members have ever sat in this chamber and did the work than this group you see right in front of you. So thank you to each and every one of them. And one of the things I learned early in life, the trick is to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. And I've always said that's a big pool to choose from for me. So I surrounded myself, starting with our incredible Lieutenant Governor, to be there to provide the voice. And next week on June 4th, see, I did not forget, we will celebrate 29 years together with my partner and my bride, the First Lady. So thank you. And then the folks who have to put this work into action, who are going to make sure that Minnesota's best in the nation Paid Family and Medical Leave Act is enacted and all people can take part in that. The people who do that work are the commissioners you see up here with them. The 24 people these are people that stepped out of their lives to serve. And I want to give a huge thank you to Senate President Bobby Joe Champion in the Minnesota Senate. For all their work, but for especially recognizing what 4 years previous that these incredible public servants were put through. They were drugged through the mud. They were blackmailed. They used a simple confirmation process to try and destroy lives and hold up state government by removing people from office or simply not voting on them or threatening them or sending people to their homes. That's not how things work. And because of the Minnesota Senate, that will never happen again in Minnesota, and confirmations will happen. And there's a group, you don't see them much, but folks who know how this stuff works know that the teams are in those rooms doing the work out of our office. The Minnesota Governor's Office actually has one of the smallest office staffs of all the 50 states. But I will make the case, they are the most productive, hardest working, and effective staff that you will see anywhere across the country. That team is led by someone you don't see there, but everyone here knows is in every single important decision. My Chief of Staff, Chris Schmitter, has been with me. So. He's assisted by our Energizer Bunny, Patrick Tanis, if any of you ever see him. And folks out there will know, never ending, a hard worker. And then I just want to say, our policy folks who worked hand in hand with these legislators to craft legislation that can work, Leah Montgomery. So Leah. Every child in Minnesota is going to have breakfast and lunch. Every single person will make their own health care decisions and reproductive rights, and abortion services are protected. My friend Kelly is here, who brought me a picture, if I recall right, from 1987, advocating for our school support workers, bus drivers, folks who cook the meals for our kids, are laid off in the summer with no money in many cases. Kelly rallied for over 30 years. They'll now be receiving their rightful place by being able to receive that pay this year. And while Minnesota had a surplus, we're going to make sure we use it wisely. Families can receive up to $1,300 this fall so they can buy back-to-school clothing, whatever they see fit. But more importantly, Minnesota is going to enact not just a nation-leading, but a global leading child tax credit that will reduce childhood poverty faster than any place else. And people ask me, what are we going to do with the surplus? Denise Speck, we're going to put it behind our teachers so they can educate our children the way they should be. And when we make these decisions and we move, and the folks up here, I want to thank on this, Leader Long and others who worked on this. We're going to move Minnesota to the forefront of a clean energy economy that is going to spark job growth. And just be clear, when we see them out here, all of these good union jobs have built the middle class and built Minnesota. It is going to continue that way. So to our union sisters and brothers, many out here who have fought these fights for decades, be very clear. Had those 2.5 million Minnesotans not shown up last November, we would be standing here today signing right to work. We would be standing here today signing 6-week abortion bans. We would be standing here defunding our schools. We would be standing here making it easier to put firearms in the hands of people who should not have them. But guess what? Elections have consequences, and we're not doing that. So for each of you to witness this, we talked about in Minnesota, the Minnesota Miracle in 1973, almost 50 years ago to the day. And it was really focused on making sure education and our littlest Minnesotans were taken care of. It transformed an agrarian, cold agrarian state into a leader in innovation. And it brought living standards up. It brought life expectancies up to near the top. It brought happiness levels up to near the top. What we're doing today, and I've heard people say, and we'll figure out how they're going to name it, but if this is Minnesota Miracle 2.0, the difference between then and now is we're saying today we're leaving no one behind. We're leaving no one behind.